Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Anyway, podcast back for another episode. Epstein's Deep Dark Secret, Frankie C.
Another one?
I didn't think we would have another secret from Epstein, but sure enough, alas, he has found a way to hide something else from us. And yes, it makes him even more of a scumbag if that's even possible.
Of course.
If you can believe it. Yeah,
God,
if you can believe it.
Every day there's something new.
Every day. Pawn Star, cause of death. We lost Rick Harrison's son, Adam. Tragic passing, cause of death revealed. We'll talk about it. Reese Witherspoon eats snow over the weekend. The entire internet loses their minds over this.
Why?
Natasha Leggero does a topless Bert Kreischer impression that set the internet on fire a little bit. Kamala Harris was not Joe Biden's first pick. He didn't want her at all, says a new book. And an airplane cancels its flight when a passenger reports there's a couple of bolts missing out there. See a little wing?
Oh.
Missing a couple of bolts. Oh, it's fine. You think you could look into it? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taxiing back to the...
How does that happen?
I don't know, man. But all that and more on this episode.
Damn
it. I relabeled it before the show too. I'm telling you, I relabeled it so I wouldn't make that mistake.
But you said it's one button, right? Or do you have to press two things?
No, it's two. The intro and the outro are two different buttons. People have no idea what we're talking about. This is the outro. It goes over the screen so you can't see us anymore. And the intro is what I just played. They're right next to each other, and I constantly hit the wrong thing all the time.
You're fucking fired.
I should be removed, Frank. I don't know.
No, you never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Oh, what the fuck?
I had that one in the holster. I've been waiting to work that one in.
Oh, it's just the best series.
I think
ever.
that should be the next T-shirt.
You never had the makings of a varsity athlete?
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Let's put that on a shirt.
That's a great idea. We're gonna put that on a shirt next.
I'd wear that every friggin' day.
I love it. All right. Epstein's
What's the secret?
Okay, here's the secret. Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, wild racists, as if historically prolific pedophile human trafficker wasn't enough.
Just keep how much more shit can we pile on to the top of the outcome of this case? Is it possible?
Oh my goodness.
Just scumbag thing after scumbag thing after scumbag thing.
Yeah, so Maria Farmer did an interview with the Sun, and they have the exclusive on this.
Whose son?
The Sun.
Oh, the Sun. I gotcha. I was like, the son of who? It's the Abbott Costello routine.
And so Maria Farmer, by the way, first one to notify authorities about Epstein and Maxwell, going all the way back to 1996. She was their artist. She was their receptionist. And she was like I said, she was the first one to alert the FBI in 96 of what was going on over there. And she said that they literally, let me give you the depths of this. He would, there was zero people around that were not white. Zero. Like, you never had any sense of whatever. Naomi Campbell, who's on the list, she was the only one, and Maxwell would often label her as my black friend. In fact, it wasn't like, oh, Naomi Campbell's my black friend. She would be like, I'm going to go call Naomi Campbell my only black friend. Like, she would go out of her way to label her as the black friend.
Right.
Maria Farmer said that she had some friends come and, pick her up one time from Epstein's New York City apartment. And they were, just random people that a 20-year-old would know, like all different kinds of people. And Epstein told her, I don't want those kind of people coming here any longer. Like,
Giant
don't.
scumbag.
Yeah.
We needed more proof.
Yeah. And this is my absolute favorite. This is my favorite. He once showed Maria Farmer a drawing of a skull divided into sections. This was, again, back in the 90s. He was saying that it was, quote, the skull of a black person and that it wasn't intelligent. You know, meaning
He
like
did the Django Unchained thing.
because it was small, like a smaller skull. Yeah.
Remember that in Django Unchained with DiCaprio when he did that?
Did he?
But in the movie, he brings out an actual skull.
Oh, is that right?
And he's going, he's pointing to all he's like, see this part here? This shows that. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
Well, he did this to a picture of a skull and was trying to explain that because as it was a smaller skull, there was less intelligence and it was the skull of a black person.
God.
Something like that will indicate less intelligence. It's usually coming from the person.
The person holding that picture is the less intelligent person. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you look up and you go, there's definitely less intelligence here, but
I'm sensing it. It's in the room. I got it.
it's in the room. It's coming from you.
Fucking people, man. What the hell is wrong with people?
Yeah. And then he would always brag like, oh, he was like a science buff and he was into science and this is science.
Okay, sure.
Like, we've come across this in me and you on our lifetime, not necessarily the racism stuff, but you don't know what you're talking about and you're fighting for it. Like you have read up, like
yeah. There's a Neil deGrasse Tyson. He goes, people can believe whatever they want to believe, but when they invoke science, when they try to use science to prove it and they do it wrong and they manipulate it. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but
right.
When they manipulate science to prove themselves right, he goes, that's when I got to step in. That's when I got to set them straight because you want to believe the earth is flat, believe the earth is flat. Do what you got to do. But when you're going to say I used science to prove it, then we have a problem because you didn't. And no science would say, there's no science for any of this to prove that race has anything to do with intelligence or anything like that.
It's science.
Yeah. Yes.
If it comes from Ron Burgundy, you got something there.
It's science. Yeah. You got to base your life off of Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Rich mahogany.
Hey to everybody in the live chat. Maria, Mercury, TD Freelancer,
Bird, Raven, Robin, Diane, Laura.
Robin, Diane, Laura.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Robin, who just got out of the hospital.
Hey, Robin. How you
a
doing,
couple
buddy?
Of days. Yeah. Hope you're feeling better, Robin. Love an update, my friend. Would love an update.
Drew Man Forever. Lynn, how we doing? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Don't forget to like and share the episode. I know it's a pain in the butt to hit 2 buttons, but
yeah, we've proved that in the beginning of the show.
Helps the algorithm. I got to be honest with you. It helps the algorithm out a lot.
It does. It helps us spread the word about the show. We really appreciate it.
It really, really does. Ghislaine would also go on to tell people that she was superior to others because she was both white and Jewish. She told Maria, you can't go to our country club because you're not Jewish. And it really hurt Maria's feelings. She also said that her father taught her to not be friends with poor people.
I see.
Because they're sad.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine these conversations? It kind of reminds me of Saltburn, where they're just like, you're just not in...
Just oblivious. You're just
reality.
You're in a different reality. Yeah.
Yes.
You're not operating on the same... Yeah, with the same reality we are, that everybody else is. You're just out there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Christina Oxenberg, who we've talked about before, one of Maxwell's former friends, corroborated Maria's allegations of racism, saying that she did indeed say that and did indeed talk about the fact that her father told her not to be friends with poor people.
Gotta tell you, poor people lucked out on that one, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And, so everybody who was not friends with Ghislaine and Epstein, thank their bigotry and racism, So.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was the same thing. It was the same thing with, they would just hire white girls. They would only, by the way, the recruiters were brunettes. historically, not every single time, but historically. So the other girls that they used to recruit others, but they would only recruit blonde-haired young white girls. That's it. They would never have any other race of girls come in.
What a weird. Just, every day there's something new and gross and terrible about these people.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's awful.
It sounds crazy to say, and you're going to hate me to say this, but this is one instance where racism actually saved people.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said before. I was like, yeah, anybody who wasn't friends with them, you could thank them, them for being racist.
Yeah.
If you're a person of color, you lucked out. You don't have to be friends with them. You can thank them for not wanting to be friends with you.
I think
nobody wants to be friends with them.
We could literally point to this as the one time where it's like, oh, well, that actually worked out pretty okay.
Out okay. Yeah, I don't want to be friends with. Yeah, nobody wants to be friends with them, and if it's not an option, great.
Moving right along, Frankie C. Pawn Stars, remember that show?
Never watched I feel like I've seen a clip or two on YouTube, but I've never watched it. I know the show. I know the basis of it. People bring in stuff. See how much it's like Antique Roadshow, but quicker, I guess.
There was a couple of them too. Remember the one with the guy? He had bald head and gray, like a gray hair.
Yeah, I never watched any of them.
I think he was in Vegas. It was one of those weird times where there was just all these weird shows about really nonsensical stuff that we were just watching for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Pawn Stars was a big show. Rick Harrison was like the star of that show, and his dad was on it. His son was on it. Adam. Son tragically passed away just a few days ago, and or was it longer than that? I shouldn't say a few days ago.
I thought I was late last week or early last week. So last week, I think. I don't know.
His son died recently. Yeah, son died recently. And the cause of death was just announced by TMZ, and then it was later confirmed by Rick Harrison, because like once it's out there, what are you going to do? Died from a fentanyl overdose. Fentanyl again. Another cause of death, fentanyl. Tom Petty, Prince, Taylor Hawkins, like you name it. Like we are in the middle of a fentanyl crisis of just tremendous proportion. And I know the president just said the other day, he said, he's working with China and England and I forget who else to slow down the rate of fentanyl coming into the country, which I applaud, but still don't think it's nearly enough for what is required, because I just feel like people are dying every day from this stuff, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Like it is terrible, and it really it's awful. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I know somebody who died, right? I feel like we all probably know somebody who died from this shit recently. And it kind of seems to be whenever somebody young, and by young, I mean like 50 or 55 and younger, just suddenly drops dead.
Yeah. Now, what is the, I want to say, for lack of a better word, method. Like, is it in stuff that they're normally taking, or is it just it's just like laced with fentanyl, right?
Yeah, it's in usually. Yeah, it's right. It's laced, exactly. It's a great way to say it.
Why? Like, what's the point of that? I don't understand. Because let's say you're selling drugs. Like, who puts it in there and why? Like, what's the end game there? You want why would you want that in there? I don't get. Something that would kill, something that could kill people. It's like putting poison in it. Why would you want to poison your customers, I guess?
Knowing what I know about it, it creates a high.
Yeah.
That
poison, I guess.
Yeah. It's from what I understand, I've never taken fentanyl, but from what I understand, it makes the high pretty significant. And at the same time, it's dirt cheap. Okay. So it's like
Rhonda just said, because it makes the drug cheaper to produce.
Right. So would
like powder of some, just an ordinary non-fentanyl bullshit.
Any
like
businessman,
baking soda, put something else in it.
Any businessman of any sort of intelligence would go, "Oh, this is killing all my customers. Let me not put it in, and I'll just give them the straight up heroin or oxy or whatever their poison is."
Right.
But they don't really think that way because they think, well, I can sell this for X amount. It only costs me this much to make.
Right.
So what if somebody dies?
Cash now, and that's it.
Yeah. But this is a pandemic, an epidemic, because you're literally, there's no solution here. There's no, like, drug dealers are pushing it because it's advantageous to them short term. People are just taking it and dying. The government can't seem to stop it or really want to stop it or put task force on it. Like, this stuff is getting into the country some way, shape, or form. Which, by the way, Rick Harrison,
over the world.
It's all over the world. Rick Harrison used this as an opportunity to slam the southern border crisis because he's like convinced it came in that way. And
well, they're seizing more fentanyl and drugs and stuff at the border than ever before. You know, it's like the point is that they're getting it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I don't know how much is getting through, but they're stopping a lot of it at the, you know, over there. So it's not like they're not trying to stop it. So I don't know. Where is it being made? Where is it being produced? Are they making it in the United States? Is it being produced somewhere here? Is it being produced outside the United States? You know, because yeah, it could be brought in, but it could also be made here. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it could be made anywhere, you know.
I don't even know, how anybody would. They make all kinds of shit here, but who the hell knows?
Yeah. First made in 1959, by the way, by a guy named Paul Jansen. It was approved for medical use in 1968. In 2015, 1,600 kilograms or 3,500 pounds were used in healthcare globally. As of 2017, fentanyl was the most widely used synthetic opioid in medicine. In 2019, it was the 278th most commonly prescribed medication in the United States with more than 1 million prescriptions. It's on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines.
Man.
But this is when it's being made responsibly, produced,
and
prescribed
by a doctor and responsible amounts and used for the right purpose. If you're mixing it with other shit and people who aren't supposed to take it are taking it and they don't know what's in there and how much it is and all this stuff, I feel like any drug overdone is going to be bad. But
yeah, pretty much.
It's terrible. I mean, I don't know. I guess you got to work with people where you find out exactly where it's coming from, and you work with that area and say, where can we slow this down or stop it or do something to regulate this better.
Susan, boys, are we talking about porn stars or pawn stars? Both?
Well, who knows? It could affect anybody.
It's pawn right now, but give it some time. It'll come around.
Right.
You know,
could be anybody. Yeah. So, Reese Witherspoon Eats Snow
and turns the internet like on its side. Yeah. So
why?
I don't know. She got it snowed wherever the hell she was.
Right.
She goes out there with a couple of mugs, scrapes them up. You can watch this on her TikTok. Scrapes them up, brings them inside, decides to put salted caramel syrup on top, then sprinkles a little chocolate syrup on top. Now, this is snow. She could have been doing this on a pile of dog shit. And I would have been like, that might be delicious with those two syrups, you know? Right. I mean, it's salted caramel and chocolate syrup. That's like, it's heavenly.
It's not terrible.
So she puts it on top of snow, and then she puts a little iced coffee on top of the snow and enjoys herself a delicious little treat.
A little slushy treat.
A little slushy treat. She named it Snow Cappuccino or something, like something adorable.
Cappuccino Snow?
Yeah, Cappuccino Snow. Where were you?
Did she eat it with her spoon?
She sure did. Yes. Come on, folks. That was pretty good. I didn't come up with that. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
She did eat it with her spoon. And people lost their minds because they're like, you shouldn't be eating snow. And
there are reasons, but it's stupid. I mean,
they say it could be toxic, you know, that you know, stuff in the air,
pollution. I guess it depends also where you live. I mean, if you're in the middle of the, you know, the Alps, I'm sure it's okay. But if you're in like New York, you probably shouldn't eat a giant pile of snow. The pollution, because when it falls from the sky, it's gonna absorb as it's falling.
Yeah.
It's gonna absorb all the pollution on its way down.
Yeah, that's Staten Island snow.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Whatever.
if you're like in the, I don't know, in the Midwest somewhere, and there's not a lot of pollution, it's who the hell knows?
Probably.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what. Unless you're testing this, it's just snow, people.
Compared to what constitutes an Oreo cookie, I think snow's okay.
Love Oreo cookies.
You know what I mean? Like the way the ability to make a Pop-Tart last 2.5 years without going bad, I think the snow is gonna be fine.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? And it was funny too, because then people started like firing back at her. Like one person said, microwave the snow and look at how unclean it is. And so she did, and it looked like the clearest glass of water you've ever seen. Like, I don't get it. What's the problem here? You know?
That's funny. Hey,
And
she
then,
wants to eat some snow, gives a crap.
yeah, and then she
Eat
was
some
like,
snow.
when I grew up, we literally drank out of the faucet. And when I mean out of the faucet, I mean we put our mouth on the faucet and drank out of it.
I mean, that was when water was clean out of the, now you can't, for some reason you can't do that anymore.
I'll tell you what, though.
And to drink from the hose, you can't do that anymore.
Well, they say not to, but I'll say this. My family still believes that New York has the cleanest water ever. And when you go to Uncle Glory Hole's house, he will serve you water straight out of the sink. No,
ask my brother. Says this
into a Brita. I was like, can we just put it in a Brita? Like
my brother says the same thing. He says New York water, believe it or not. I think I'm not sure of the reasoning, but he's a biologist. He knows what he's talking about. He said New York water. For some reason, I don't remember why, but he said it's probably the best water you can.
It's probably the best. There's people holding on to this for. I can't believe it.
I don't know what it is. It could be, but it's one of two things that I could guess. It's either there's so many people and they've got so many, it's a high population, so they got a lot of filtration systems. I don't know. It's either that or it's like there's stuff in it, but it's gonna help your immune system because you're getting used to drinking like whatever bacteria. I have no idea. It's not like they're it's not like they're pulling buckets of water out of the East River. I mean, I'm sure they're cleaning it somehow.
Don't you think it feels like it? Well, they say we get all our water from the Appalachian Mountains. It comes from
it all
upstate.
gets sent. Yeah, exactly. And it's, I think, because my brother said that they put stuff in it like fluoride and all this stuff, and it's okay to drink, and it's just a little bit to make it. I don't know.
I thought fluoride was bad for you, but I guess
a lot of it. I think a little. I'm not sure. Don't go by us. We're not claiming to know anything what we're talking about here.
But we are podcast hosts, so
yeah. I mean, those are our only credentials when it comes to talking about this.
These are working microphones. Rhoda says, my son sent me an article about the millions of particles of microplastics in all bottled water.
That's a possibility.
What about, do you remember, Cuddles? Do you remember like the metal in the baby food?
Oh, yeah.
Was it the baby food or something? Yeah, where they were like,
why is there metal in baby food?
They're like, yeah, they would like pour out like baby food, and then somebody would take like a magnet and like,
oh, that's that. I feel like that's a hoax of some kind. I don't know. That sounds like
no, and then
bullshit to me.
Didn't one of the baby food companies say, yeah, there's like a little bit of metal in all, like
like shards,
couple of metal shavings,
shrapnel? What are we talking about?
Yeah, like tiny, just like tiny.
What the hell is that?
You can't. I'm telling you, man, you can't fucking. Well, the other day I'm watching a video and they go, do not, whatever you do not drink almond milk. And I'm like, fuck, all I do is drink almond milk. I'm like, I can't drink regular milk. It tears me up. So I'm like watching this thing and they're like, it's filled with canola oil and sugar. And the cup, there was a couple of chemicals in it too. They're like, this is not good for you. And it is not,
Is it listed on the bottle? Have you looked? Have you checked?
No, I didn't check. I just kind of took their word for it. Because what I did was, I'm watching it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to search this because I don't believe if I just see one crazy person that's well lit with a microphone on the internet doesn't necessarily, So I'm like, I'm going to match this up. I found like 30 other people saying the same exact shit.
Yeah, I could find you 30 people saying the world is flat too.
That's true. But so I go, all right. I guess I'll just switch to oat milk. And as I'm saying this, she goes, and do not drink oat milk either, because here's what's wrong. And now I'm like, what the fuck? But she went through the whole thing, and basically she shit on every alternative milk. And I was not more of a lib say. I feel like Janine would take me to the woodshed for saying that alternative milk. There's not all of it. Oat milk, soy milk. They were saying it's all terrible for you. It's all horrible.
You got to check, I don't know what's in it, but don't go by podcasters. Look it up.
No, this wasn't even a podcaster. This was like a person on like a nutritionist. This was.
Okay.
Now Paul says avoid all seed oils. I think that was part of the discussing this because it was the seed oil. Because they say with almond milk, they were like it was like a waste product.
What's wrong with seed oils?
I don't know. I don't think that they're that good for you.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to believe anymore. I think I'm just going to go back to drinking out of a hose. Just to be safe.
Just end it all. Just, you know what? I'm just going to go in the yard and drink out of the hose. That's going to be it for me.
I'm going to start a religion based off of Reese Witherspoon and just eat when the snow falls. That's it.
I didn't mean end it all. I meant go out drinking out of the hose.
Yeah, just give me some of that New York City fentanyl water, and I'll just fucking ended everything.
Give me the water that Scarecrow was poisoning in Gotham City in the first Batman. Give me that
exactly.
water.
You know, my son said to me though, now that you said the flat Earth thing, you just reminded me. He goes, "Dad, the Earth's not flat." I go, "Yeah." He's like, "If the Earth was flat, wouldn't the water just drain right over it?" And I'm like, how do I answer this? Because I don't want him to become a flat earther. So I have to prove to him that the Earth is round. But I mean, I guess if the Earth was flat,
introduce gravity to him. Well, the flat earthers' answer to that is there's a wall holding it all in.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just explain gravity. If you could explain gravity, there's a thing called gravity holding everybody. When you jump in the air and you fall back down, that's gravity. So just tell them that. Yeah,
no, I did. I was like, yes, if it was flat, it would just drain right over the side. It would, and he was like, all right. And like, he believed it. But I was like, it's got to be hard to be a teacher these days, because probably when we were coming up, you could be like, here's the moment where we discovered the Earth was round, when we realized the horizon and the stars and this and that, right? They measured, they came up with it, they figured it out. We were taught that. We were taught that they were trying to figure out why the Earth wasn't flat, because that's what they all thought originally. I feel like you got to really like delicately tiptoe around that, because if you're a teacher, you're gonna be, what are you teaching my damn son about the fucking Earth? Who the hell are you think? I think you're just gonna get phone calls from crazy, people.
Wait, if you teach them that the world is round?
Yeah.
Why? No, I don't care what. If I'm teaching that the Earth is round, and I get a phone call from someone saying, "What are you teaching them that for?" I was like, "Because that's what it is," and hang up on it. Because there's no answer that I'm going to give that's going to satisfy that person.
No, there's really not. There's really, really not. But I bet you somebody's upset about it. I'm pretty sure somebody's pretty upset.
I'm sure they are. But I feel like whatever answer I give, I'm going to say, "Oh, there's all the science that proves it." Well, they're going to come up with whatever answer they have that fits the answer that they already have in their head.
Did you know this? I just learned this the other day. Columbus didn't believe that the Earth was round. He believed the Earth was shaped like a pear.
It kind of is.
Which is why
by the way.
Well, no, it's wider in the middle than in the top and the bottom.
It's wider in the middle, but it also has it's a little thinner on top.
Is that right?
But if you shrunk it down to like the size of a bowling ball or a cue ball, it would be the roundest thing on Earth.
Yeah.
It would be you wouldn't be able to tell anything. It would be the smoothest, roundest object ever made.
But he believed that it was like totally pear shaped,
Uh-huh.
that it almost came
Oh,
to
like-
a point on the top.
It's
Yeah.
so the difference is so negligible you wouldn't even be, but it's slightly different. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that to be pretty interesting because I was like, and that's why. I mean, besides that, he thought Spain would outfit him with boats. That's why he left from there, because it was high up, and he thought that would be the thin part. He could get around it quickly. That was really what it was. Not that he could get to India, but he can get there faster on the top thinner part. I thought that was pretty interesting.
So, Rhonda, we have pictures. How do they explain the pictures? Well, where do the pictures come from? The pictures come from NASA, and NASA is the one behind the whole thing that tells us what we want to hear, and it's a big scam and blah, blah,
Oh, the
blah.
flat earthers, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they explain these pictures. Oh, they're all computer generated, and they're not real pictures, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, we're up in this. Well, we didn't really go up there. We're not up in space. What are you talking about? Yeah. The whole thing. Robin.
Good one.
Kind of oval shaped. Very good. Pick up Aaron's book, Oval, at the link below. Robin put the link in the chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, Robin.
Nice callback. Well done. Applauses for Robin. Good job there. Don't be teaching my kid about your crazy left-wing round earth theories. God damn it.
The earth is shaped like a five-pointed star. We all know that. Whatever, pick a shape, whatever shape you want it to be.
Whatever shape you feel like that day, it should be fine.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Natasha Leggero is topless.
Natasha Leggero, yeah. So Bert Kreischer, one of my favorite comedians.
He's funny.
He's in there, and he's doing a set in L.A. and he likes to take his shirt off.
Right.
So he's got his shirt off and he's doing his set, and whatever this kind of show was, I think it was one of those like Comedy Cellar shows where like these huge people come and they do their little 15 minutes and one introduces the next. Like there's no real MC for the night. They just kind of... So Bert Kreischer introduces Natasha Leggero. She gets up on stage. She's wearing a mink coat, like overalls and a white shirt. She throws the coat into the audience, peels off the top of the overalls, whips the white shirt right off. Hootie's hanging out everywhere for everybody.
Yep. No
within
bra, no
3
nothing.
seconds of being on stage.
Yep. And I remember she said something like, "The guys can do it. Why can't the ladies do it?"
I'm all for that.
That's fine. Yeah, you're not scaring me. With I don't know who you're protesting against, but it ain't guys. We're all
this
like,
faction. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, we're all for
No
that.
one's stopping you.
And she did the set. She put the jacket back on. I guess somebody tossed the jacket back to her. She put the jacket back on, but she did her whole set topless.
Well, with the jacket on.
I applaud you.
Do what you're gonna do. That's your call.
I find that to be a very this is good because I feel like I'm the most boring sexual person ever. But I find that to be very sexy.
What?
The no shirt, but some sort of jacket or
Right.
roby cover-uppy thing.
Some kind of loose layer of clothing on top.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but and I feel like that's becoming a thing too because excuse me, I just saw somebody else the other day. And I literally almost texted you the clip. It was a blonde girl. I'll never remember it, Frank. She's from some show on something. And she's kind of wearing, I guess do they call it a halter top? What do they wear underneath that cinches them up, girls?
A corset?
Like a corset. She was wearing like a corset, but you couldn't really see the bottom, so it looked like she was wearing a bra. And I almost sent it to you because it reminded me of the O. Henry heiress. What was her name?
Sue Ellen Mishke.
Sue Ellen Mishke. I'm like, it's coming true. Everything that Seinfeld and Larry David wrote in the 90s is actually like women are just wearing their bras out now. It kind of seems, I don't know what's happening, but that's like kind of a fashion thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't know who's protesting this, but dude, wear what you're gonna wear. I don't care. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine with me.
Yeah, whatever you're gonna wear, you're gonna wear.
So good with Natasha. And then she there's like a little bias though. Like she said, I don't know if she said it in that act, but she joked about it because it was like in the articles. And this is where you can tell the bias lives still. Because then it's like she joked about sleeping with her opening act, and it's like, so what? You know, like comics sleep with other comics. Like you take people out on the road, and sometimes why is that bad? Because she's the employer and he's like
Well,
an
if it's just a
employee.
joke, she's joking about it, right?
Well, she did. She said it on stage, but I guess they took it for. I mean, who knows if she really did or not? But, you know, I mean,
Right.
they put stuff in there, kind of like, oh, women shouldn't be doing this. Like, isn't she bad for doing this? And it's kind of like, at the same time, though, she's a woman. She could do whatever she wants. Like, you know, what do you expect her to do? Just be at home and by the stove, you know, getting dinner ready.
Yeah,
Like, she wants to bang one of her
Yeah.
cohorts, she will.
Whatever. You know, as long as everybody's on board, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatevs.
I'm working on stand up now, just to try and get on Natasha's tour. Yeah, just to get on her tour. I don't want to open up for anybody else.
Gotcha. You jerk.
Just working on a solid 7 minutes just so I can get in there, see what happens.
You're only going to need 2.
Oh, and then she goes, I just had a. She goes, I got it. She goes, I just had a baby. She looks phenomenal for somebody who just had a baby.
Good for her.
Jesus Christ. My wife had a baby 8 years ago, and look at what I still look like. I mean, haven't been able to.
You didn't lose
drop
the baby weight.
Did not lose. Did not lose. Put more on with the second. Kept it all.
Sympathy weight.
Yeah.
You didn't lose it.
And I am quite sympathetic. There's a new book coming out that's, I think, going to be coming out tomorrow. And it's all about the Biden and Harris ticket in the Biden White House. And it reveals that Biden did not want Kamala Harris, said that she was, quote, not up to the job, and preferred Gretchen Whitmer.
Gretchen Whitmer. Who the hell is that?
Michigan governor.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted her as his running mate in 2020, but he craved to public pressure, according to this book.
Who wrote this book?
Great question, Frankie C. I love your journalistic spirit.
Oh, hey. Someone's got to have it.
Veteran Washington journalist Charlie Spearing.
Yeah, okay. Good old Chucky Spear.
Yeah, Chucky Spears. He also explains that it was Barack Obama. You might know him. As
I've heard something about him.
Fourth president.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Name rings a bell.
Yeah.
And he said that it was Barack Obama that really put the full court press on to get Kamala in there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is she incompetent? Here's the thing. I don't know what she does.
We say that about every vice president, every time there's a vice president, which is every time, and we don't know what they do. They don't do, you know.
They really don't let them do much.
They talk at things. They do give speeches. They supposedly they run NASA and the space program. That's a big thing.
Is that their thing?
Well, they're the head of it. The vice president is the head of NASA, and you know they can spearhead a bunch of things, but we don't really hear usually that much from the vice president.
I don't think that they let her do much though. Like out of a job that you don't really get to do much, I think she does even less. Because they just never. I don't know.
I don't know either, but go to any president in history and go, what did the vice president do? You know, you can't.
Well, I'd say that's true except for Pence. I think Pence.
What did he do?
More like, what do I do here? And he was like, all right, here. This is what.
Did he? When did he do that?
Oh, I think so. I think Pence ran shit. I think.
How
Pence
do you know? What did he run?
I think it was behind closed doors. I think it not like in a sneaky behind Trump's back way. I think I just think though that he was the.
Well, he was smarter than Trump, of course.
He was the not the brain. It's not fair to say the brains, but he had the technique. He had the technical know-how of how Washington worked. You know.
Yeah, but you never really heard from him throughout the presidency.
No. And I don't think you ever would, but that's my point. I think Trump would confer with him privately They'd have conversations, and then Trump would go out and be the focal point. Trump wasn't going to let anybody else get the attention. But I think that when it came to especially matters of Congress, that Pence was in there running calling the place.
Never.
Yeah, I think Trump might have been throwing the football, but Pence was in there, with the playbook.
Fine. I just don't think Trump would listen to what anybody said about anything.
I don't think that, but I think it would be more like, this is what I want. Mike, how do we do this? How do we go about it? And I think that's where he...
All right. I didn't think he asked him for his advice on anything, but okay.
Yeah, no, I think so. And then come to think about it, the prior Republican president, you throw in the same thing there because, what's his name?
W.
Yeah, Halliburton guy was, the fuck is his name? He was shot people.
Oh, what the hell is his name? That's annoying.
Made a ton of a war that didn't make any sense. Cheney, Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
Just barely beat the live chat, I feel like. We just got that in under the wire, Frank. Dick Cheney ran shit too. I mean,
that's true. That's kind of true.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe he ran a lot of that stuff.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, he was forced, he was a tough guy, I guess, or I don't want to say tough guy, but like he was in charge. He took charge.
Yeah, he definitely took charge.
Yeah.
And the whole cabinet and everything, that was all him.
Mm-hmm.
Like those were, but it's, which is kind of unfair though, because he was one of his dad's guys.
Right.
But that was all his dad's crew that just, he was running.
Hung around.
Yeah, he was just running behind W's back. That I believe was more behind W's back. But this is evident because she doesn't, at this point in his age, you'd want there to be, you would think that if it's running smoothly as it, like I don't know who the chair of the Democratic committee is, but I'm sure that person is like, hey, could you include Kamala on some shit? Because we'd love content. We'd love to roll your 4 years into 8 for you and then another 8 for her. That's the goal, right? Mm-hmm. So you want her around for all the victories and stuff, and she's never in sight.
Well, look at Obama when Biden was the vice president. What did he do while he was vice president? I'm not, it was all Obama for the most part. I can't think of his then again, at that time, I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah. No, but it was. But Biden, again, handled, it was Obama, but Biden's job was Congress. Right. You go in there and you whip votes. You make, not that he needed advice like Pence gave to Trump, but he would be in there like help, like, oh, this is what this one wants. This is what that. Obama knew how it worked. He just, that was Joe's thing. And he made a deal with Joe because this is what happens. They all have to make a deal to get elected.
Right.
Right. And so the deal that Biden made with Obama is, whatever you do, I want to be in the room. I just want to be in the room with you. Like, I don't want to be, Selena, what's her name from Veep? I forget what her.
Myers?
Selena Myers.
Yeah.
Selena Myers. Yeah, I don't want to be Selena Meyered out to the fucking, I want to be in the room. I want to be the last person you talk to before you make the final call. And that was the deal that they had, and he stood by it.
All right.
Yeah, whether he took his advice or not, he was there. He stood by it for sure.
But I see a lot of, look at Biden's posts and stuff like that, and I see a lot of him and Kamala together on stuff. So
some, but
yeah,
not.
She's not going to be it with everything. She's not going to be next, partnering on every single thing. But there's a lot of things they do together. So
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
You got to get her some wins too if you want that ticket to succeed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
well, they'll do that the next 4 years probably.
Let's hope so. Let's
Save
hope
that
so.
for 2028.
I don't know. Trump is coming on pretty hard here.
Ugh.
Airplane missing bolts.
Where was this now?
This is on a Virgin Atlantic flight. Literally, a guy was like, should I mention this?
Ugh.
And then he was like, maybe. He's like, they probably know about it. Because usually it's standard operating procedure. A pilot is supposed to do a 360 around the whole plane. Take a look at
The
everything.
pilot has to walk around.
Pilot and the co-pilot, the flight staff, they got to walk around the whole thing, make sure everything is. I worked at the airport. The biggest thing was debris on the runway. Like, you could not drop anything, and if you were driving and you saw something, you stopped to pick it up, because the simplest can of Coke or whatever, gets sucked into a jet. That's millions of dollars of damage, so like everybody was like fiercely trained to be like a hawk out there. You watched other people, you watched yourself, you watched everything on the ground to make sure there was nothing. Anyway, I guess these pilots missed it.
All right. So they walk around the plane, but they're underneath the plane.
They're underneath the plane for the most part, but
Passengers looking out the window, probably looking at the top of the wing. Maybe is that where you saw it?
that's where he saw it. Yeah, but they're supposed to go in the plane and look at the top too.
What about the very top? How could you see the exact top of the plane? I mean,
You
who's
can't
looking
see
at
the
that?
top of the plane. No, you can't see the top of the plane.
I mean, you have to. What if stuff up there is missing or fucked up?
I don't know, but they said so the guy gets in the thing and he goes, "There's a couple of missing rivets there, some missing bolts here." Tells the flight attendant. Flight attendant goes, "Nothing to worry about." Okay. Then the flight attendant, I guess, starts to feel a little. Let me go tell the pilot. Tells the pilot. Pilot comes and takes a look and goes, "Nothing to worry about." Even the engineer who inspected the plane said there is nothing to worry about. Even the person who built the damn plane gave a statement today and said nothing to worry about. There are 119 bolts in that particular part of the wing. Is that it was extreme redundancy. You could lose 4, 5, or 6 and not compromise the integrity of the plane whatsoever. With all that being said, they still canceled the flight out of an abundance of caution.
All right.
So
You know what though? Because if they didn't, everybody would be on their ass, and if they did, everybody's gonna be. So no matter what they did, I think people are gonna be on them.
yeah,
That's a no-win situation where if you cancel the flight, people are gonna be like, "Well, why'd you cancel? If there's nothing wrong." If they don't cancel the flight, oh, you should have canceled the flight.
not when you have a half a door missing a week ago. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. That was. Did you see that? Holy shit! The side of the plane. It wasn't even the door or the window. It was a panel.
that was a whole panel.
It was like a 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide panel. Sucked off the plane.
Just
What
gone.
the? And the people just sitting there like, what are we? Fasten your seatbelts, I guess.
Yeah. Could you imagine how
Jeez.
scary? I mean, we saw the video was scary. Could you imagine being right there? when you're
No,
looking down.
no,
It's just, oh my God.
I would never fly again. If I was sitting in that seat and the side of the plane came off, and I have to sit there now for a half hour until they land, with this side of the thing missing. I'm just looking outside as wind's whipping around. I'd be shitting myself.
Panic.
Yeah, panic,
Yeah,
pure panic.
I would have probably shit myself too. I would have probably because I would be thinking I'm going to move away from this. But then you're thinking I can't unbuckle myself.
No, you can't move. You can't get up. That's it. It's over. You just got to sit there and ride it out.
Just got to sit there. Yeah, that's horrible.
You know, yeah, you got to the whole. You probably can't. You can't enjoy your movie.
No, you can't enjoy the movie. But this was bad because they took pictures of the whole thing. So they got pictures of the missing bolts, and then they get pictures of the two engineers that come take a look at it. It's just two dudes in vests. It's just some reflective vests, and they're like, what do you like? It's fucking 6 bolts missing. We could all see it. Like, what's
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, put a couple of screws in there and let's go, or ground them.
How do they come? They just come out. They just loose. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess things rattle and shake, and how about we maintenance these things maybe a little bit more often than we should?
I don't know, man. It's and a lot of these planes they're not the newest planes. They're from. I'm sure they upgrade a thing or two here and there, but the plane itself, they're from like the 70s or something.
Yeah, even the Airbuses that were like new in the 90s and 2000s, they're 25 years, 30 years old now. It's like,
Yeah, My car is 10 years old, and it's breaking down, and it's not good.
We cut a highlight from the last episode, and it's the truth. Janine's going, "Oh, that was like 10 years ago," and then you hear this long pause, and she goes, "Nah, it's probably more like 15." I'm like, everything is like that. Everything feels like, oh, it was just a little while ago, and then you're like, oh no, that was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen
Like,
so
holy
quickly?
shit. Yeah.
Last thought here, and it's not on our rundown, Frank, but I have to get this off my chest.
Okay.
There are people out there that are far more annoying than the flat earthers.
Really?
I'm telling you, worse than the flat earthers.
What do you got?
I've had enough. These friggin' NFL conspiracy theorists are so annoying right now. I can't even take it.
What are they? What is it?
There is this conspiracy theory that the NFL is entirely scripted. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And that games are intentionally blown by referees or coaches, or they'll kick extra points when it's not necessary. They'll go for 2-point conversions when it's not right. All this crazy stuff has boiled to the top with the color of the Super Bowl logo. That's the latest portion of the NFL is scripted conspiracy theory, which says that the colors of the last 3 years of the Super Bowl, like the beginning of the season, they put out a new Super Bowl logo at the beginning of the season. And the last 3 seasons, the colors that they use have been the colors of the teams. And furthermore, the colors that are on the bottom of the Super Bowl logo is the winning team. So this year it's purple and red. And everybody has been saying it's going to be Baltimore purple and San Francisco red.
Wasn't Kansas City red too?
Kansas City is also red. Thank you. And Kansas City's going to the championship game before the championship before the Super Bowl game.
Right.
And it's like, what if it's Kansas? But I'm telling you, every asshole with a phone is on the internet going, it's scripted, man. It's a conspiracy. I just want to write down everybody who has said this. And when it's not Baltimore and San Francisco, go door to door on an American tour and punch these idiots in the face.
What if it turns out to be?
I don't know if I can be a part of society anymore if it turns out.
If it turns out to be, is that you saying, "Oh my God, it is a conspiracy," or is that you saying, "I can't deal with conspiracy theories and this is just proving their point," but you still don't believe it?
The latter.
Okay.
It's not a conspiracy. If it does so, here's the other part of it. Since the beginning of the season, Baltimore and San Francisco have been really good. So it's not that far-fetched of a premise to begin with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, those two teams probably were going to make it pretty far in the playoffs regardless.
If the colors were green, I'd have a question or two. I'd be like, "There's no way the Jets are making it, right?"
They were green when the Eagles won.
The Eagles, right?
Yeah.
See so how do you explain that?
Like I said, the last 2 years they've been right. That theory has checked out.
Here's a question though: even if it were scripted, why would they leave clues for people?
Why?
Why would you? Oh, I have an idea. We are scripting the NFL, so let's leave little breadcrumbs for people to fuck with everybody.
That sounds like something I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs as I was choking the life out of one of these assholes spreading this shit around the internet.
Because people are bored, they got nothing to do, so they got to kick up some bullshit and make it interesting.
So then, and I don't even know if this is true, but the last one that I saw, they said that they released a new Super Bowl logo. Okay. And when do they ever change the Super Bowl logo?
Right.
And that the new Super Bowl logo now is a new update on like the new teams that are supposed. I guess there was a change in the script, right? It's these fucking. Now listen, I love a good conspiracy theory. Right. And do I think conspiracies really exist? I do. I think JFK is a conspiracy worth, talking about. Epstein and all this stuff is obviously governmental involvement conspiracy. It's there. There are some conspiracies that are legitimate. The NFL scripting their season is just not one of these theories because there's no.
How do you know? What makes you say that?
But there's no, with all the other ones, there's power and authority.
There are
and
billions of dollars involved in the NFL.
there's money. I agree. There's
That's
money.
enough to that's enough motivation for someone to want to manipulate it. I'm not saying it is being manipulated. I'm just saying there's motive.
Here's my argument against that.
Yeah.
They're going to make billions of dollars anyway. It doesn't make a difference who you script in to win.
Well, does it? I mean, what if you need a team to, you need this team to do better, you need that team to do better?
Nope.
No? That doesn't matter?
Every professional league roots for one thing and one thing only, for New York to play Los Angeles in the championship game. And is the only thing that is beneficial for every single league in this country.
Well, what if, they need, Texas to
why?
Give me a
We need Baltimore because they win the Super Bowl. That's going to save the NFL from danger.
What if it does a big favor to that team's, that state, or if it does a big favor to whatever team, like what if it puts more money in the pockets of the areas that they come from? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Okay, it's all cyclical. It's going to come around to everybody eventually, anyway. If you just let it all happen.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the Jets haven't won the Super Bowl. When's the last time they were in the Super Bowl? 69 is when they won last. But
yeah, it's been a long time.
Detroit never won. So maybe, I don't know. What if it's all orchestrated so that the money is dispersed in different ways?
I'm telling you, I've never seen a group of people more confident and they have something here.
Oh, I hate that, by the way. Yeah. When people, that's the other thing. Just speaking of conspiracy theories in general, when someone is so wrong, but they're so sure of themselves, like with the flat earthers, just because that's the easiest one to go to. When they're like, "Oh, you're just being manipulated," and that's okay. And if they speak to you like you're like they're they speak to the people who know the truth, like who know that it's round, like their children. Like, "Oh, that's okay. You've just been manipulated by the government," and that's typical, but. It's like, stop. I would appreciate it and respect it more if flat earthers were like, yeah, I don't know the truth, and I don't, and they were very modest about it, and like, I just haven't seen it. They're very sure of it, though. They're like, oh, it's just a manipulation.
I'm telling you, these people are more sure. These NFL conspiracy people are more sure.
To be fair, the refs have been making some questionable calls.
They always have. They always fucking have.
That's true. That's a good point.
I like this from Paige. The starting time of this show is the only conspiracy theory I want to end.
It's valid.
8:30-ish is one of the great conspiracy theories of all time, though.
It's usually 99% of the time it's between 8:30 and 9.
Wait, and then the other day, some fucking station in San Francisco, I think it was San Francisco, put on their screen, Usher will be the halftime performer. It was like a news piece. It was like a local news.
Okay.
Usher will be the halftime performer for the upcoming Super Bowl in Las Vegas, featuring the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. And see, they let it leak. Look, somebody let it leak. They let it out early. Here it is. They screen capped it. They did all that stuff. And I'm like,
I love how they let it leak to the guy who types up the fucking the thing on the screen at a local. That's the guy that knows. They let it leak to him.
It's proof. There it is. There's all the proof you need. Like, it got out early. I'm like, that's some dickhead that is just stirring this shit for all you people, if it's even real. Because I don't even know what KSLX in fucking, San Francisco put on their screen. Who the fuck knows? Some dickhead just like you and I, that could have screwed something up. There's just listen to me. There is no possible way you can get a team of 53 players and a coaching staff of 20 people per team, ownership, a front office of hundreds of people, and replicate that 32 times across the country to keep quiet this conspiracy of we're all got this scripted and we're gonna fool them all.
That's the same thing with like the moon landing. You know how many people would have had to have been involved in that, and the paperwork and the sets and the anything, and all these people had to be quiet about it. Flat Earth. You know how many scientists, astronomers, astronauts, all these people have to keep it all a secret that the Earth is flat. There's no way it would. You have trained scientists coming out going, "You guys, this is there'd at least be one or two people who are legit scientists going, nope, this is the Earth's flat and everybody's fucking with you."
Yeah,
I don't see any scientists saying that.
Taylor Swift can't pull the car over and take a shit at a gas station without 90 people with cell phones filming it. Yet 4,500 people are going to keep a secret that, I mean, like, give me a fucking break. Again, I ask you, to what end? To what financial advantage is Baltimore winning the Super Bowl going to fucking help anybody?
It's all, I think it's big confetti running the show, because then the parade happens in the hometown.
Right.
Confetti is sold there.
That must be it.
They're running the show.
That must be it. It must be big confetti. I think you nailed it. You know, what is it? Everybody gets a little turn. First of all, the league grew to its largest heights ever, with the New England Patriots winning, every other fucking they won like 7 championships. And they grew beyond belief. Why would anybody want to fuck with this juggernaut? Why would you blow the NFL and the money making it is by going, let's have Baltimore win? I got an idea, everybody. We'll give it to Baltimore and we'll put their colors with the San Francisco 49 colors in the logo.
Exactly. If it's such a huge cover up, a conspiracy involving billions of dollars and all these thousands of people, why would you leave breadcrumbs? Why would you put hints? Why would you put hints in the logo? Who benefits from that?
Just for fun, just for shits and giggles.
Just to screw with people.
Yeah. Just have a good old time.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Telling you, man. All these fucking FanDuel and DraftKings assholes, like, here's my picks for DraftKings, even though it's fucking that's the other thing too. It's fixed as all fuck, yet you're still dropping $300 a week on stupid bets. Like,
do you do that, by the way? Do you do FanDuel and all that crap?
Oh yeah, love it. Love it. Yeah. Can't get enough of it.
All right. Do you do all right on it, or?
No, we're in a lot of trouble financially right now. We're gonna need help. No, I'll tell you. You know what I love? It's just like I was the same way. You know this, Frank. I was raised at a racetrack, right? I was taught to be a gambleaholic early on,
right, in
my life. And the one thing that I love about horse racing is the trifectas.
Okay.
I don't like if you ever come to the track with me, I don't bet. I'll bet like a win or show, bet on first place, second place. But I love a fucking trifecta or a superfecta, meaning I'll pick the first, second, and third place horse.
Right.
Or the first, second, third, and fourth place horse. And like sometimes you can box those, meaning you're picking every combination of the 3 or 4, which I fucking love. Because the thing pays great, You have to bet a shit ton of money to.
That's the thing. You have to bet a ton to make any kind of money, because the odds are usually 2 to 1. So to make any kind of money, to win $100, you got to bet 50. It's like, oh,
that's not fun or exciting.
No.
But when you go into a bet and you could bet $10 and possibly win, like even just 300.
Yeah.
There's something really exciting about that.
Well, that's a 30 to 1. And who's betting that one to win?
Well, some of these trifectas in horse racing comes out to that. But fast forward to these FanDuel things now, and I'm not going to tell you which one I use because we're waiting for an endorsement. They're going to pay for that shit. But I use one of them. And what I love about it is you can build parlays yourself. And I will bet on horse racing on occasion, but I'll bet hockey only. And there are so many great bets. Like you can pick a single game and you could pick 2, 1, 8 players who you think is going to score in that game. Okay. And so you can sit there and like what I'll do is I'll pick 3 players who I think will score. I will put $2 on it, and if I hit for like $500, depending on who you're picking. You know,
From
obviously,
$2.
the top scorers aren't gonna. If you pick the 3 top scorers on the team, those odds aren't gonna be as good as if you pick one of the third lines defensemen. If you think he's gonna pot one in tonight, you put him on there. It raises the thing, or vice versa. You can bet on what I love to do. You can bet on how many shots a player will have on net. So I could bet on this guy. I think he's going to have more than 2 shots. I think this guy is going to score, and I think this guy is going to get an assist. You put those 3 things together, and the odds of that happening, they're pretty up there. So you can bet $5, $2, $7, whatever, and you can get like a $250 payday. And it's not like life-changing money.
Again, the odds of it coming in are ridiculous.
Are really hard. That's why it pays off so much. But it's fucking like even the simplest thing. I'll pick 3 games and I'll pick the over under on 3 games. I think this game, these 2 teams will not score more than 6.5 goals. I think these guys will score more than 5.5 goals. You pick 3 games, you bet $5, you could win $75. Like it's not life-changing money, but it fucking makes the night a little something to sweat for, a little something to root for. You got a little action.
It's something to cheer for. Yeah, it's like it's like betting on this, getting one of those boxes with the Super Bowl. It's just fun. It's something to root for if you're not into the teams, if you don't give a shit about the teams.
And I swear to God, you know what happens? I'll win. And this will happen. I bet on horse race. Fucking crushed it. Like it was the superfecta, so it was 4. I fucking hit it. And I fucking hit it, and I forget what I paid, but it was a lot of money. Then I would just that was like a year and a half ago. Then I would just incrementally bet, and the money was just slowly go down, and then I get like to around like $25 left, and bet $10 on something, and boom, hit it, shoots right back up again. So I'm just fucking around with the same amount of money, basically.
Well, that's good. If it's 2 things. One, if it's money that you don't give a shit if you lose and you can afford to lose it.
Yeah.
And if you're playing around with the house's money, also good.
But it's amazing because like they'll also like when you sign into these apps, they'll give you like, here's the hot parlays that everybody's betting on. And they'll tell you. And I used to bet those because I'd be like, oh, everybody's betting on this. They must know something. And they would have like crazy good odds. And without fail, everyone would come in except for one. And I just remember thinking, these odds makers are so amazing that they can put these parlays together. And it always came down to just like one thing. And it would always be their running back that was just like 5 yards short, or it would be this or it would be that. And I would never, ever win. And I was like, fuck it. I never win these. I'm not doing it again. But with hockey, for some reason, they're still really good at predicting. Like the over-unders are spectacularly good, like they make it really difficult, to figure out. But every now and then they just get it flat out wrong. And that's usually when I could do pretty okay. Like when you could tell, or like if something happens just before puck drop, like you find out, like Artemi Panarin is not going to be in the game tonight. It's like, oh, give me the under. I'm going to put the under in right now before the odds change too quickly. Because they do change pretty fast. Like I've started to
keep track of any of that.
It's hard. I've started to build a parlay, and then by the time I finish all my selections, the odds have already changed on something, and then now you're like, oh fuck it, it's not worth it now. I got to build something else up.
Well, to add to your conspiracy, look at what Paige wrote.
My uncle was a jockey at... Okay. I didn't even... you heard what I just read. I'm not even looking at it. Horse racing is crooked as fuck. That is not the NFL. It is completely different. I don't even know what Paige wrote. And I'll put it on the screen in a second and I'll read the rest of it. But again, when I grew up... Well, my family has some history in Jersey, right? Where we grew up, we had connections at the racetrack. That horse racing is crooked as fuck. And the reason why it is because there are so many horse races throughout the course of a day, you literally cannot keep track of all of it. Nobody is fixing Churchill Downs or the Belmont Stakes. Nobody's fixing those races, but
The little
Belmont,
piddly races that nobody watches.
the 6th race at Belmont in June 30th, like that's getting fixed. Like somebody's gonna make a fucking ton of money off of that race just based off of whatever.
Right.
My
And it only
uncle-
takes one person to fix it. The jockey.
That's it.
You tell the jockey, listen, don't go as fast.
Yep.
And that's it.
I have been at the racetrack when literally you could see the jockey be like,
Oh God.
like pull a horse back, and you're like, oh, what the
Ugh.
fuck,
Oh, what the fuck?
But you got to be in on it. You got to be
Ugh.
in on it. I knew somebody who used to work in they called it the jockey lounge.
Yeah.
And they get food and they get all this stuff like that. And if something was going down, they were the ones who knew, because those deals and shit got made in that room.
God.
Crooked as fuck. Because how are you going to stop it?
Yeah, because you have to know what's happening. And even if you do, you got to prove it. And you got to prove that something screwy is going on the track. And the only thing you can really prove on the track is if there's like bumping or kicking or pushing or shoving, something physical going on.
Yeah.
If the jockey's just not pushing the horse fast enough, though, that's just, well, I didn't, want to. I felt like, he was going as fast as he could. You can't prove that.
No. Can't.
It's hard anyway to prove.
And think about it. Even if like somebody comes to you and makes you an offer, how are you going to turn that down? But even if you look at me, you, and Cuddles, and J Sabs, and Aaron, right? It's 5 of us. And we go, Aaron's on the long shot. Let's all let Aaron go flying past us. Let's finish Aaron, Frank, and Cuddles. We'll bet that trifecta. Fucking clean up.
Clean up? Yeah. That's the thing. They hold back. There's movies about it. Every horse racing movie where there's any kind of fucked up thing going on, it's like they held back the horse so that the horse's odds went up. And then they would let it win. And then they made $1 million.
Yeah. And there's that gamesmanship all the time amongst trainers and everything. Who doesn't put their horse into this race, saves them for that race. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of like, shuffle stuff around. But yeah, for sure. Those jockeys. Because what are they making? They're not making a lot. Now all of a sudden I could bet on this and I could fucking, tell my cousin to put $5,000 on the 6th race at whatever bullshit. A 15 or 20 to 1 sneaks into the trifecta. You know what that's gonna fucking pay?
Right.
Stupid money. How could you stop that?
I don't know. They should let the horses run without jockeys. Just let them run. Just put them out there.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Right? Let's see what they do.
Just see what
Let
happens.
some of them will just wander around. Maybe a few will run down the track.
Well, a dog track, right? You can't fix that. How do you
Dogs.
fix that? That's impossible.
It's not. I don't know if it's impossible. I'm sure there's some fucked up things that they can trank the dog. I don't know.
Probably, right? Drug it up a little bit, see what happens.
I don't know. It's fucked up if they did. But who the hell knows? I'm sure you could fix almost anything.
Rhoda, my conspiracy theory is I had these 2 small humans moved in with me and called me mom and refused to pay rent for 18 years. Who are these people? Yeah, I don't know.
That's another one. You got that problem.
I do have that problem right now. It is awful. Yeah, the flat earth thing, he was like, did I tell you what my son called me the other day?
No.
I probably didn't. Saturday, he goes, what's going on there, big guy? I'm like, who the fuck are you? You fucking calling me big
It's like
guy?
I'm running this house now.
Yeah. What's going on there, big guy? I'm like, what?
Wow.
What's happening right now?
Who the hell are you, buddy?
I go, never. I'm your father. Do not talk to me like that. Although that was pretty hilarious.
What's going on there, big guy?
Yeah. And then he goes,
What?
And then he goes, he laughs. So I laugh because I just found it to be hysterical. And then he's like, I know, isn't that right, big guy? I'm like, okay, let me tell you something about.
We're gonna
finding
stop
another
this
position.
right now.
Yeah.
Once was funny.
Right. You get
But
one
that's
off, you don't go right back to it right away. You let it wait a little while, and that's
it breathe.
called a callback. That's how you do it, kid.
You got to teach this kid. Do a comedy class with this kid.
Yeah, we got to do something because he's in bad shape, Frank.
He's
I'll
got to
tell you
take over this podcast when we're gone.
Yeah, who is going to do it? Who else is going to do it? How's Dexter with his mic work? Is he getting any better?
I'll tell you, he could just sit here, look in the camera, and there's a podcast.
I'll tell you right now, we put Dexter on the thumbnail. We would definitely get more views than we're getting right now.
You're gonna get more. You're gonna get more views than this.
Just the eyes. Yeah,
That's all you need.
that's all you need. That's true. All right.
Well, it's been a fun show.
It has been a fun show. Yeah, not a 2-hour show, which is
no.
what we do it on Mondays for some reason.
We usually do that. But thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody watching, the replay crew. Make sure you pick up Erin's novel called Oval. The link is in the description below. Great book. And we will be back in a couple days.
Yeah, Wednesday, baby. We'll be back on Wednesday. We got some fun stuff to talk about on Wednesday, like this new Disney floor. Have you seen this Disney floor?
Disney floor? No.
It's gonna fuck you up.
I can't wait to get fucked up on Wednesday.
Take care, everybody. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Show me potato salad.
Maybe we should go now.
Go ahead.